And we're back.
We're back. So now we're going to get into my breakup.
Yes.
My ex, her cousin.
Spill the tea.
Oh, where do I start? So just to give like a quick background, me and my ex, we met through art. That was something that we really connected with each other. Yeah, so that's how we like really built off of that. From there, we just, in the beginning, I thought it was a good friendship. It was about to fuck y'all heads up. I thought it was a great friendship. You know, I hadn't had any sort of interaction with a man who kind of like took their time in the way that he was, and that was something that I appreciated. But
took his time to learn your weaknesses.
Yes, took his time to learn my weaknesses. And let's start this off with this is my story of being with a narcissist. Literally the devil spawn. Like, literally the devil spawn.
Literally.
So, yeah, I thought that he was taking his time with me, but he really wasn't. He was learning my weaknesses, just like what Jasmine said. And I thought that it was great. We really built a friendship off of that. We would talk about a lot of our traumas and our growth and our personal relationships with it, like the people around us, like our friends, our past relationships, romantic ones, and just like what we learned from that. And you know, I was being truthful. I was being very truthful, but he was not. And we had a conversation where at a point in time we were like, okay, well, let's be exclusive.
Trap.
Yeah.
Trap number one.
Let's be exclusive. And I'm like, period. Okay. This is showing some intentionality. You know, that's something that I love. I love to see it because I'm intentional myself. But when do I like unfold it all? I think I'm gonna just unfold it all as I said, because all of it was just craziness. Like I said, we said that we were going to be exclusive, and I was on that type time. He was not. He was not. Come to find out, he has always had a plethora of women that he was still doing the deed with, completely unaware. And like looking back at it now, I had seen so many signs, and I completely just did not follow my gut because I was right all along.
Yeah.
Like there were moments where I would have to bicker back and forth with this grown ass man about these bitches that he says he either does not know or does not care about. So then I would always meet him with, okay, if they don't mean anything to you, like I've never met anybody who would just fight somebody and go back and forth with somebody over something that they don't care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I told him, I was like, you have never gotten any sort of fight back from me.
Yeah.
Like anything that has made you feel any type of way, I'm just like, okay. Because it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Like, but this man was being a whore, y'all. He was being a whore with multiple women, multiple women. And like, I had a feeling, I had the strongest feeling, but I did not get that clarity until the breakup. And
how did the breakup happen? Because didn't you guys... So what I was told was that y'all broke up like twice technically. So it was like the first time it was like an accident because like you accidentally broke up with him.
Yeah.
And then the second time it was like, to me and my ex, so his best friend, we thought that he had already broken up with you, but then y'all spent Valentine's Day together. And then there was another, it was like breakup part 2.
Girl, all right. So the first time, apparently I had broken up with him. I was just so pissed off that I did not break up with this man. But I was just so pissed off to where I'm like, okay, I'm out running my errands. Like, you're fucking up my flow. Like, I can't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
I need to go into Walmart and get all my things that I need to get. And so I will talk to you whenever I get home and I'm calm.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and to him, that was, I guess I broke up with him. And what did I say on that phone call? I had told him, I was like, okay.
He told me that you said, we're done or something.
No, not at all. Well, no. Yeah.
Add that to the list of lies.
A list of lies. Complete list of lies. No. It was over another girl. It was over another girl with a situation. And I had told him, like, yeah, you have to stop doing X, Y, and Z. Because you're not making me feel safe.
Yeah. And
we're just going to keep having these sort of talks with each other until you stop.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting anywhere. I said, we're not going to get anywhere until this is like finished. Like, this has to stop. And he was like, no, I just want you to sweep it under the rug. And I was like, hold on. Let me just make sure I heard you right. I said, you want me to sweep this under the rug? Like, my concerns and my everything that you're doing that's fucking with me?
Right.
And he said, yeah. I said, you do know that means that you were telling me to forget about myself. Right.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. And I was like,
that's crazy.
And
he
honestly,
didn't give a fuck.
You didn't give a fuck. And honestly, I was in so much shock a lot of the arguments because I'm like, how? Like, I don't move like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So in that conversation, I told him, he was like, he had the stance of wanting me to just sweep it under the rug. And I was just like, yeah, no, we're not going to get anywhere with that. Like, that's where I stood at. And I said that. And I was like, okay, well, I guess like that's that. Like, that's where we're going to be at until you waver. That didn't mean I was breaking up with you. Yeah. That just means I'm solid within my stance.
Yeah,
like,
right.
No, to him we broke up. And then that's where the narcissistic mind games came into play. As soon as I got home, I had called him and I'm like, yeah, so back to what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. And he was like, what are you calling me for? Oh,
yeah. That's so rude.
Yeah. I was like,
he's so sassy.
So sassy. He's sassier than me.
He is.
And I'm a woman. Like, so I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I'm calling? Why am I calling you? He's like, because we broke up. And I was like, so at that point, I'm already tired from the mental strain. Yeah. Because these weren't regular arguments. Like, this wasn't like, we argued today. We don't argue for a couple months. Yeah. No, these arguments would last for weeks. Yeah. These were weeks long arguments.
I heard that one time he had you arguing on the phone for, what was it, 12 hours straight?
Yes! Girl, yes.
My jaw dropped when he told me that. I was like, about what?
Girl, like, and during that conversation, I kept telling him, I was like, I'm going to sleep. It's late. Yeah. I'm going to sleep. No. And what? I said, I'm tired. Like, I'm going to bed.
That's crazy because he made it seem like you were the one that wanted to just
stay on the phone.
Yeah, to stay on the phone.
He's literally insane. No, like, I had work the next day.
Yeah, I was like, doesn't she have a job? Like, why is she arguing with you?
I'm tired. I was like, I'm tired. I feel like we're at a standstill. Let's let this breathe. We'll come back to it tomorrow. Yeah. No.
That's ridiculous.
No.
That's so ridiculous.
But yeah, that was breakup 1. After that, we took like a month-long break. He told me he wasn't with other people.
No, he was.
He was, because he was with.
He literally slept with how old is she? 20?
Someone that he told me was his little sister. Yeah. And that's some predatory stuff. Yeah. If anybody, I'm telling you, if any one of your partners say that someone is their little sister or little brother, and then you find out that they've been with each other, that's very predatory. Because how can you look at someone and say, this is like my sibling? Genuinely. Yes. Genuinely. Yes. And then fuck them.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure she was probably under that same impression because they had known each other for years.
Yeah.
And have like other mutual friends and like, oh yeah, he's just like my older brother.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's like, what, 5 or 4 years older than her?
Yeah.
So the fact that he he literally hit her up and said, because me and him have the same birthday.
Yeah.
And she has the same birthday. So he hit her up and he was like, oh, we never got to celebrate our birthday together.
And you want to know what's so fucked up about that? Is that when it was his birthday, he was spending it with me.
That's crazy.
I took that nigga out. I took that man out.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
That's sick.
He hit her up and lured her over to his place.
Lured
her over. Lured her over. But what's even crazier is that so she ended up spending the night, right? And then the next morning she was there for the morning.
Yeah.
And then
I was there.
She literally left. 10 minutes later, you pulled up. He had called me. He was like, oh, twin, you wouldn't believe what happened. Well, my ex actually told me first. Yeah. Because my cousin didn't tell me for months until like last month. And they had hooked up like back whenever, which obviously, you know, I'm not pressed to know immediately. It's not breaking news to me. But, you know, after hearing how things actually went down with you guys and, you know, I was sitting on this information for months because my ex had told me that he had hooked up with this young girl. Woman, lady, this young lady. With this young lady,
it's so sick.
It's so gross.
That same day, I remember I popped up and he opened the door, and he looked at me. He was like,
"Yeah,"
like startled.
He thought it was her coming back.
And I was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, why are you looking at me like that? No. But yeah, he was with, I'm pretty sure she wasn't the only one during that time.
Oh, probably not.
More than likely not. Likely not. There's been multiple. And
it's like a Ferris wheel.
And that's so trifling. And no, like not even to be on like some funny stuff. Yeah. It's so disgusting because you were bringing so much harm to yourself. Yeah. But you were bringing so much harm to these women, and me included at that point. Yep. Because you're not being truthful. Yeah. Truth will get you a long way. You could have a whole round of bitches and tell them all the truth, and everyone lives in a happy. We're all a happy.
Yeah, because everybody.
Well, I won't be included in that.
Yeah, right. Because everybody knows what they're signing up for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you don't tell people what they're signing up for, then that's not fun for anybody, truly. And then you could also just be, you know, it shows just how much someone doesn't care about people because you could also be spreading disease, literal disease.
Yes, it's so unsafe.
It's very, very unsafe.
That and then spiritually transmitted diseases. But
yes, that's another
It's a thing. Yeah, that's another cast. But so much to it. And then the second breakup, that was, he told y'all that we were already broken up.
So,
right?
Yeah. So it was the night of the Super Bowl and my ex came into town and he came over to see me before he was going over to my cousin's family's house. And so he was like, oh yeah, he's going to break up with Patience tonight. And I was like, oh, it's finally happening. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, well, you have to text me and tell me what happened. Yeah. He was like, yeah, I think he's doing it right now. So, or he said that he already did it and that he was going to go get the tea whenever he went over to the house to watch the Super Bowl. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, go and report back. So he goes over there and he texts me and he was like, yeah, so he actually broke up with her and she... said that you were just crying a bunch and that he said that you were crying a bunch and that you slid down the wall. And that was the only information that I ever got from my ex and the main talking point for my cousin too, whenever he finally told me last month. And he was like, yeah, it was just too hard for me to see. She was sliding down the wall and it was just a lot. And I was like, oh, wow.
He's literally a nutcase. So let's debunk that right now. Let's debunk that right now. Now, granted,
Debunk
I
it.
am a woman. I'm very in tune with my feelings. I have no problem with
Period.
crying. But
Period.
on that very night, that man was the first man to cry. It was not me. It was not me. Once I seen his face and I seen him having all these tears, it wasn't just one tear. These were crocodile tears. Like, he had so many tears going down his face, and at that point I'm like, damn, we really going through it.
Wow.
So I start crying too, because I'm like, oh, we're going through it. You're crying.
Yeah.
So the feelings were just flowing. It was a mutual thing. We were both literally crying.
Wow. Wow.
And we weren't broken up. Like, let's say that. We definitely were not broken up.
So wait, so when he was at your place breaking up with you, so he didn't like finalize it and say like, okay, well, this is it.
No.
Like, how did you guys end up spending Valentine's Day together? Because I was so confused about that. And I was like, I had asked him like, why'd you do that? And he was like, oh, well, she already had the escape room booked. And, I was like, okay. I mean, I wasn't in a place to judge. I didn't really care that much. I was like, whatever, man. You're broken up with her now.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't. No. So that night that he said that he broke up with me, we really weren't broken up.
Yeah.
And I asked that very clearly to him. I said, we're still working on this, right? Because if we're not, I just want to know.
Right.
Like, because where are you at mentally and emotionally?
Yeah.
And he said, no, we're still trying to figure this out.
Oh.
So that's whenever he was with your ex. And then later on that night, he called me and we continued to talk about if this can work and how we can make this work. Girl, yes. Girl, yes.
Wow.
Yes. And also, the reason why there was a second breakup was because there was another girl and I had a strong feeling. And I told him, I said, something's fishy about this situation. I said, I can't shake it. And he had told me, he was like, but she's so cool. She's so cool, and she just has so much knowledge about the stuff that I want to do. And
she has connections.
She has connections, and she's patient. She just seems so cool. And I said honestly, something's not right here.
Yeah.
I said something's fishy.
Yeah.
I said I can't shake it. Something's real fishy, and that argument lasted for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, and I told him. Crazy. Never again.
That's
crazy. So, and I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. And like, I told him, I said, you need to be very aware of the sort of energy that you give to women outside of this relationship.
Yeah.
Like, be respectful of your relationship. And if that's not something that you can do, well, you could do it. You just don't have the tools. You don't want to.
Yeah.
If that's not something that you want to embark on doing, then I don't need to be here. Like, I don't need to be here at all.
Yeah.
And he gives a lot of, what's that term? Is it the pipe dream?
Word salad?
That.
Oh.
But also just like,
pipe dream?
he will lay out this.
He's future faking.
Yeah. That. Yep. He will make it look and sound so good.
Yeah.
But he's actually lying.
Yeah, he's a big future faker.
Yeah, completely lying. Girl, I thought we were getting ready to move in a few years together. I thought I honestly thought that was my husband. We were talking about these things. Like, I'm like, okay, we're moving intentionally. I get it. Da, da, da.
It was because early on, like you said, early on in you guys' relationship, y'all were having a lot of deep conversations very, very soon. So, and that's the thing with narcissists, they fast track a lot of stuff. And if you're already somebody that is okay, and well, we'll have to do an episode on this, but especially as a pretty woman, you have to be so careful about just opening up yourself to everybody, because everybody's gonna want to talk to you, but not everybody deserves to know all the stuff that you've been through. So for him, he realized that, oh, she'll actually tell me the things
Yeah.
that I can store in the back of my brain and
use it against her
later.
Yep, to break her down.
And he knew your fears, he knew your trauma, he knew your wants, your
dreams.
desires,
Yes,
your
he knew
needs.
it all.
So that's why he was able to future fake, because he already knew what would make you be like, wow, this is, the man is giving you finally what I've been wanting from a man.
Yeah.
But it was just an illusion,
Yeah.
because he knew what you he knew what you wanted. He was just playing in your face.
Yeah,
And making
literally.
it seem like it was gonna happen, but he had no intention of ever making it happen.
At all. And it's so
Never.
crazy because during all of the arguments that we would have, he would try to make me feel like I was a horrible person.
Oh, yeah.
And like say like, Patience, you don't know what to do with a good man because I'm a good man and you don't let me be a man. Any real man is not walking around here saying that someone else is stopping them from being a man.
Yeah.
Like, let's be so real.
Just be a man.
Just be a man. Like, how is anybody stopping you?
If
How
you're
am I
a real
stopping
man,
you?
then nobody should stop you from being a man.
Exactly. So with that breakup, it was just a lot. We were arguing, apparently to you and the rest of his family, we were broken up.
Yeah.
But we really weren't. We were talking. We were like writing notes, like, okay, we're gonna do this. These are your boundaries, these are my boundaries. How can we come together for each other? It got that deep.
That's crazy.
And it was me looking back at it now, was like throughout that whole relationship, especially during those last few weeks, is that I was the one carrying it. I was the one initiating these deeper convos, but it's because I had the tools and I had the knowledge of like, okay, we're having a miscommunication here or a disagreement here. Okay, but now I have, some tools of like, okay, well, I need to ask these questions or we need to come together on this. It was never him because he never had those tools. Yeah. And he didn't give a damn because he was doing whatever he wanted behind my back.
Yeah. And he also knew that you would do it too.
Yep.
So he knew that he wouldn't have to put in any work because he knew that you would step in and do it.
Yeah, it was,
so,
and he would just breadcrumb it too.
Yeah.
Breadcrumb the hell out of it.
Yeah. So he, like I said, he just would talk a lot and make it seem like it sounds good, but he wasn't doing any actual thinking or any actual work.
Yeah.
He was leaving all of that emotional labor up to you.
Yep.
And that's the invisible labor that a lot of women pour into in romantic relationships that a lot of men, especially toxic and abusive and narcissistic men, don't reciprocate because they know that that's what you're going to do. And as a woman, you never get compensated for it, even though it's labor and you don't get anything in return. So you do, like, you're like, why do I feel so tired and so drained? But it's because you're literally doing work and it's work that's not being, like, it's not a partnership at that point because your partner isn't also doing his share of the load too.
And I'm a woman. I want to live that soft life. He had me, I was like emotionally, mentally exhausted. Like I could not think straight throughout my days. And like, it was so bad. Like I could not think straight. I was having issues with sleeping and just even like during work and just staying focused.
Yeah.
Like it was such an emotional and mental toll because it was just so much work that I should not have been doing on my own. And just to wrap that breakup up is just like, we weren't breaking up. There was a couple of days had passed and I had told him, I said, well, where are we going with this? Like, are we breaking up or are we together? Yeah. Because you're talking to me about how we can make this work. But then on another hand, like what are we doing? Are we staying in this or not? Right. I'm like, Valentine's Day is coming up. Yeah. I love Valentine's Day, but I'm not pressed to be with you. Yeah. And I told him that. I said, if we're going to be together, then I expect to spend Valentine's Day with my partner now. If we're not, then let's cut it off now. Right. I said that. I said, granted, I already have, I already have the escape room planned for Valentine's Day. I said, but if we're not together, I'm still going. Like, I'm not dropping my plan. It's
giving solo date.
Yeah. I said, if it's not going to be you, I'm going to bring one of my friends. Yeah. Like, it's nothing.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, come on now. And then he would during those last couple of days, he would make a lot of petty comments. Like whenever my phone would ring, he would say stuff like, "Oh, now your phone's just ringing a lot." I'm like, okay. Or like whenever he knocked on my front door and I opened up my blinds just to see who it was, and then opened the door, and then he came into the house and was like, "Oh, why did you open up the blinds to see if another nigga was there?"
Oh,
and I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, what? Like,
what?
But no, it was just projection.
Yeah.
It was just projection because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was telling on himself.
Yep. Yes.
He was telling on
they
himself.
love to do that.
Loves to do it. Loves to do it. Loves to do it. And that's how it went with that. He had said, we're gonna be together. We're gonna make this work. So that's why we went on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And then after that Valentine's Day weekend, he came out of nowhere, broke up with me. I thought it was a joke, so I laughed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, we just had this great weekend, and everything is just going so well, and now you just broke up with me?
Trifling.
Let's leave it off on a cliffhanger, though. Because we're going to go on a break, and we'll be right back. We're back. Ooh, back to
spill more tea. I'm dying to know what happens next.
Yeah, back to the tea. So yeah, we broke up. Well, he broke up with me on the weekend after Valentine's Day. I was laughing. I thought it was a joke. So I'm like, oh wow, we had a good time.
You just went in a free escape room.
Yep. Yep, a free escape room.
He said they're only paying me $2 an hour, but she's about to treat me to an escape room. I gotta go.
Princess treatment. Oh, she's taking care of me.
Can't pass this up. I'll break up with her later. He had to reassess after watching the Super Bowl. He was like, oh, damn. She did say that she put an escape room. I love escape rooms.
It's so crazy. Hold up. Just to backtrack a little bit, was that before he broke up with me after Valentine's Day, it was his idea to spend the whole weekend together. Because I'm like, okay, I was under the impression of like, okay, we're just going to go to this escape room and we're going to split our separate ways.
Yeah.
And he was actually like offended that I even thought that. He was like, well, why wouldn't you think that we wouldn't spend more time together? And I'm like, why would I? Like, we were just arguing for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. Did he get you anything for Valentine's Day?
No, yeah, he came in with a Star Wars plushie because we were watching Star Wars a lot, and he came with a card that had all these "I love you" signs on it, and damn, I wish I had the card.
We gotta insert a picture of it.
We got to. I'm gonna insert a picture of it. But yeah, so like during that, he brought it. What did it say? Something about like "I love you." Yeah, we're gonna have to bleep a couple things out, but yeah, he brought it. So I'm like, oh, because I didn't get him anything. Truthfully, I didn't, because I didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, right. You guys were in like a limbo.
Exactly.
Because of him.
Because of him. So no, I didn't get him anything.
Yeah. Period.
So yeah, he broke up with me that weekend after, and then I was like, very much in shock because it felt like it came out of nowhere because we had such a good time, but he was faking it. Yeah, he was faking it. Yeah. He just wanted to get what he wanted through that weekend, and that was it.
Yep, he had an agenda.
Yeah. And then from there, I had a lot of things transpire to where like the complete truth came out. Is that good? Yes.
My bad. as
said,
he
"This
would
is so
say.
much tea."
Yeah, so much tea.
She said, "Gulp it."
So much tea. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
done.
Yeah, keep going.
So yeah, a lot of things that transpired where I was just getting the truth about all the bullshit he was doing. And not too long after the breakup, I had seen him at a party with that same girl that he told me was just so cool and such a cool person, and I think that we should all hang out.
He said that you guys should all hang out?
Yeah, he said that the reason why he brought her around was because she was into similar things that I was into, and he thought that we could all be cool. But then once I was like, I don't think she likes me because she was paying way more attention to you than what she was doing to me.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not dumb, dude.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, so now that I'm out of the equation, do you think that you should still entertain her?
Yeah.
He was like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to break off any bad like relationships. There's nothing, like, she didn't do anything. Like, she just seems really cool, and like she wants to help me out with my acting and da 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 da. And I was like, and that was a red flag to me, because like, as my partner, you should be aware of other people's like movements around you.
Yeah.
Because why am I always the one peeping shit?
Yeah. It's just
like, why?
He peeps it. He just
peeps
wanted
it.
to act stupid.
Yeah, but he does that. He did that with every single girl.
Mm-hmm. He also likes to rile you up.
Oh yeah,
Make you upset, and he knows that that's one of the quickest things to like hit a nerve or to like spark like a disagreement.
Yeah,
you know.
But also, I feel like that shows a lot of his insecurities as well. Is that whenever there was a situation with a girl that would come up, it would invoke a feeling in me to where I would question him a lot. Yeah, and because I'm like I said, I'm not dumb, so I'm gonna ask you these questions. I'm gonna tell you this don't make no sense. Right, and that feeling I think he's getting is like, oh, she's fighting for me. You know, that's an insecurity. You have a void that you are trying to be filled by causing chaos to somebody else that you say that you love. Clock it. Come on.
Clock it.
Come on.
Clock it.
But
that's tea.
Yeah.
That's tea.
Yeah. He did that whole duration.
I had no idea that he was like that to you. Yeah. No idea. And if I had known, I would have cut him off way sooner, because that's insane behavior. Yeah. And so toxic and so abusive. And again, I think he knew that because I've been through literally parallel situations that I would look at him completely different and not want to be associated with him. Yeah. Because not only are you toxic and narcissistic, but like
you're abusive.
Yes. And like
and you're proud of it.
Yes. And it's embarrassing actually, because I'm like, oh my gosh, my cousin, the one that I'm saying is my twin, is just out here tormenting women. That's so embarrassing. It's horrible. That's not how, it's so horrible. That's not somebody that I want to align myself with. Like that's just, it's just not.
Yeah,
it's really not.
Yeah, it's not it. Yeah, because it's not like, oh, like he just made a couple mistakes throughout y'all relationship. It was, oh, you really did her dirty. Yeah. Like just as a person, and this is someone that you say, you know, obviously we had a romantic relationship, but you say that you look at her as like your best friend. Yeah. How could you do that to your best friend? Yeah, yeah. No loyalty at all. So yeah, there's that. I had seen him at the party with that same girl that he told me was just, you know, very, very baseline. There was nothing happening.
A colleague.
Yeah, a colleague. Yeah, a work friend. That's what we literally had a bickering back and forth about that.
Really?
Because he said, "Oh, it's just my work friend," and I said, "No, y'all are talking about personal things." Yeah. And he pulled it up. He pulled it up on Google, and I pulled it up on ChatGPT. And I said, "I'm going to give you examples. This is what you're doing, nigga."
Yep. Period. Pull out the receipts.
Yeah. That is not a work friend. Yeah. That is a friendship, and you're being disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
with that, there was a very little space of time where I tried to make sense of the breakup. He had called me a few days. It was like 2 days after he broke up with me, as if nothing had ever happened. It was the most scariest thing in my life.
Why did he call you?
It was like,
What did
hey
he
girl.
want?
He's like, hey girl.
Hey, girl.
I was like, I remember I was out getting my food. I was like, hello? And he was like, yeah, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. How are you? I was like, I'm good. How are you? And he was like, yeah, I'm good. So like, what you doing? Like, where you at? I was like,
Whoa.
I'm out getting my food. Oh yeah, where at? I told him where it was at. He's like, oh, I never been there. I was like, we were just here last time. He was, oh yeah. What? No, I'm telling you, like, it was because you know his personality.
Yeah.
So like how I'm saying it, doesn't that sound off? Dude,
That's very off.
Yes, it was very. That's
he does
why
not talk like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
It was literally like a completely different person.
That's so scary.
It's so scary. That's why I was so confused. I was like, hello?
Who is this?
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. And then he was like, yeah, so I'll be over to go and get my comb. A $3 fucking comb he could have got at Sally's. He's like, yeah, because I'm getting my hair done tomorrow. And da-da-da-da-da. But like, I'm like, okay. And he was like, yeah, and I have your wine glasses too. Honestly, I was never going to reach out to him about the wine glasses.
Yeah.
I can get more.
Yeah.
And I have more on my cabinet.
Yeah, right.
Like, I was just going to say, fuck it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't want to talk to you anymore.
No,
Like,
literally.
you disrespected me.
Yeah.
Why would you call me randomly to tell me some story like
Yeah.
that after you just broke up with me?
Yeah.
And that's what brings me to my next point is that he just wanted to put me on a shelf. He did not want commitment, but he wanted to keep me close by.
I totally agree.
At that point, like once he started telling me that, I cut him off. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I'm confused as to why you're calling me.
Yeah.
I said, I don't see a point for us to talk.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, Patience, you know, like you did this, you know, like you didn't reach back out to me and da 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 da. And I was like, I said, it just sounds like a lot of excuses. Okay, bye. Click.
Oh.
Yeah, he got mad and hung up, and that was the last time we talked. That was the last time we talked, and I did not call back because
Wow.
I'm like, no, you disrespected me. I need to stand firm. Yes, I'm having questions in my head, you know, trying to piece things together about this breakup, but you will never come back into my space.
Yeah.
You won't get that access to me.
Yeah.
And I think that I really threw him for a loop whenever I set that standard. Because he's not used to it, because along with the woman that he would always keep around him while we were in a relationship was a lot of his exes. Yeah. And he would always say like, oh, they're cool. Okay, they can be cool, but like you're in a new relationship now. We're getting older, honey. So like you need to be a little bit more mature because we're not in high school anymore. Yep. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty positive that he was just so used to having women be okay with him giving them breadcrumbs and keeping them just close by, not too close, but not too far. And I just cut that shit just within arm's reach, and I had to cut that shit. I had to did it because it's not serving me. And I'm honestly proud of myself for even just standing firm on that standard with him, because it had to be done. And I was already saying like, oh, you don't have any respect for me. Granted, I didn't know that he was cheating and doing all the stuff behind my back at that point, but I had already seen that you don't have the respect for me that I require for anybody in my life to have for me. So there's that.
I agree. I also want to throw in that I feel like for him, it was also a situation where, not me about to lose my thought. We're going to have to cut that out. Oh, damn it. Oh, it was a good thought too.
We can keep it.
Okay.
It serves personality.
Listen, it's late. We're burning the midnight oil to get this tea out. But I also feel like a lot of times people feel some kind of shame when they get broken up with, and they're not the person to do the dumping, the dumpy. Yeah. And I feel like you know, a lot of people can learn from your situation and learn from how you've handled this breakup and being on the receiving end of it, because there's still strength in not letting that person come back and letting them walk away.
Yeah.
There's so much strength in being like, okay, I'm just going to let you leave.
Yes.
You don't want to be here anymore? I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to
Yeah.
beg you. I'm not going to try and convince you that this is where you need to be. I'm literally just going to let you walk away.
Because that's what you want to do.
Yeah, because that's what you want to do. And I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being on the receiving end.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, you still have the power in just...
It's all about your movement at that point.
Yes.
What are you doing individually? Now, are you sulking in bed because of that breakup? Or are you going to keep moving?
Yeah.
And even whenever I was having those questions in my head of like, why did we break up? Why was this the way it was? And X, Y, and Z. I was always in a space of, even if you leave me, my grind never stops.
Right.
Like, I will always push forward. Yeah, I might have some tears on my face, but the grind never stops.
Yeah.
And like I said, it didn't take me too long. Like, once I found out the full truth of what happened in our relationship is whenever I stopped missing him completely.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It was very immediate. Because at that point, I understood that I had fallen in love with a ghost. It wasn't a real person. And that's what a lot of narcissists will do, is that they will mirror a lot of the things that they know that you want, a lot of the things that you are already shown within yourself, and to make it look like they're your dream person. But once I seen all of the real stuff come out, I was like, yeah, no. I was like, there's nothing to miss.
Yeah.
It's a ghost. It's not there.
And also, narcissists are not capable of loving somebody else other than themselves. So he never loved you.
Yeah.
And was never your friend.
At all.
And because they're not capable of using empathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you don't have that, you can't love somebody.
Yeah.
So,
you
know, anybody in his life that he says that he loves, it's not real.
It's transactional.
Yes.
And it's starting to click
And that's
more
not
and more
love.
each day. Yes, more and more each day, because of just me looking back at our conversations and how he would talk about the relationships that he has with people. It's always transactional.
Yeah.
It's always transactional. If you are not giving him anything, he's not going to have you around.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah. Very, very transactional.
Yeah.
Wow. That is so crazy. For me, hearing all of this and just, paralleling it with what I was told by my cousin, two completely different versions of the story.
Yeah.
And as we'll get into later on, like, I thought that you were completely different and that you behaved so the complete opposite in the relationship. I thought that y'all broke up because you wouldn't get your shit together. Because he had told me that, I'm giving Patience another chance and another try.
To be fought for.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be fought for.
Yes. He was like, I'm giving her another chance and another try. And I was like, oh, what'd she do now? And he was just like, she just keeps, being so insecure and picking arguments about, his female friends or whatever. And he would make fun of you trying to set boundaries and stuff that, and just frame it in a way that made it seem like you were being very controlling and manipulative in the relationship, and that you were being toxic towards him, which did garner a lot of sympathy from me, my ex, even this other girl that we're mutually friends with, and just a lot of people just feeling bad for him and like, oh my gosh, like, why are you with her? Like, oh my gosh, you can do so much better.
Yeah.
And so I really thought that y'all broke up finally because he was finally putting his foot down and not letting you treat him any kind of way, and that he because he set a standard for how he wanted to be treated, and you couldn't follow through and like honor and respect how he wanted to be treated. So that was why y'all broke up. So it left me in a place where I was like so proud of him, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like dump her, leave her. Like you don't need that.
Stand your ground.
Yeah, stand your ground. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Like you can do so much better. And the whole time that just wasn't true. It wasn't true at all. Like,
and that's so crazy because even though he would be on my back about me having these boundaries, I had told him, I said the whole relationship, I had told him, I'm like, I said, I don't understand how you want me to treat you because you have not instilled any boundaries for yourself. I said, I don't have a good understanding. Like usually like people don't have to tell me these things. Like as a relationship with any relationship, it just goes on. You start learning that person.
yeah.
And I said to him, I was like, I don't understand you. Like, I don't know where your bounds are. I can't grasp it genuinely. I can't. And whenever I would instill my boundaries, because I know what I want, I know how I want to be treated, you piss them off. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say because like, you don't even know how to instill your own boundaries.
Because he's a people pleaser.
Come on.
Clock it.
Clock it. Clock it.
Clock it.
Clock it. And it's honestly like being in a relationship with a narcissist. It's very mentally and emotionally draining.
Yes.
It can be very damaging. And if any of our viewers are going through a breakup or just in a relationship with a narcissist, please leave. Let them get the help. You cannot help them. They have to want to change. They have to want to get the help because you can't do it. You can't, you really can't.
Yeah. And the sad thing is that a lot of them won't get help because the way that they behave always gets them what they want in the end. So they have no reason to change.
Yep. They have a huge ego.
Do yourself a favor, which, we'll talk about in a later episode, but do yourself a favor and, find a way to safely leave the situation and the relationship. And yeah, because they'll just keep being who they are. And it literally is not a mental illness. It's a personality disorder. So that's not something that you can help them with. They need, if they ever acknowledge it, because you also can't tell a narcissist that they're a narcissist. That's like rule number one. You can't tell them. It's pointless. So if they ever come, I've only met one narcissist that actually knew that he was a narcissist. And, but other than that, they most likely don't even know that that's what they are because they think that this is just, that's just how they operate in life for whatever reasons that they've developed this mask and essentially an alter ego. So you actually, so you actually will probably never really know who they are. And it's not worth sticking around to try and figure it out.
And this goes even just outside of a romantic relationship because a narcissist is not only a narcissist whenever they have a partner. The narcissist is a narcissist even if they have a brother, a cousin, because like you had said that you had a different impression of me. I had a completely different impression of you based off of what he was telling me. And it's just be aware of the people that you keep around you. Please be aware. Like really look at their patterns and how they go about you, because it will take you very emotionally far to not keep dealing with no bullshit.
Totally agree. And it's scary when you do
clock it.
When you do clock it, and
like,
you're like,
oh my God. Like, it makes sense now.
Yes.
And I can't be here anymore.
You can't. You have to find a way to save yourself from the madness. So, but you're so right. It comes in all shapes and forms and all types of relationships, not just romantic. And and the patterns are all very, very similar. Because again, it's a personality disorder, so it doesn't discriminate.
Let's get into what your whole like breaking away from your cousin was like.
Oh, yes. But first, I feel like this is a great time to take a little break. Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back with more. We know you guys have been waiting.
The Ad Tax Podcast.
Okay, so we just left off with you explaining your breakup with your ex.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, your ex is my cousin, so it's only right to talk about how I also cut off my own cousin.
For the same reasons that I had to really cut ties.
Yeah.
Because of narcissistic tendencies.
Yes, exactly. So with him, it was, it still blows my mind. But with him, it honestly was quite difficult to detect. You know, he has a very inflated ego and really grandiose sense of self. So I just kind of chalked it up to the fact that he's an artist and being like, oh yeah, well, of course he's got to be, you know, feeling himself or whatever. Like he's got to think that he's the man, that he's that guy, you know, and everybody always hyped him up. And I was just like, okay, well, you know, yeah. And as his cousin, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, no, you suck. Like that. So, like, I was also like, yeah, you're so great.
Did you genuinely feel that way, though? Or were you just being, like, a supportive cousin?
I was just being a supportive cousin. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of his work. Like if I had heard it just on Spotify, like I wouldn't be downloading it to my phone or anything like that. And that's not a knock against his craft because I still think that it's, you know, for what he does, it's great. Yeah. But it's just not my personal cup of tea. But yeah, even with that though, I still felt like it only made sense to still show up and support as a cousin instead of trying to knock him off his block or knock him down a peg. Like that just didn't make any sense to me. And so with him, like I said, we became very close in our adult years. And what happened was as we kind of, as things got, so I feel like it's important to talk about the last time that he and I hung out. But leading up to that, I would call him for advice. Wow, I have more notes on him than I thought. Really? I'm oh my god! Yeah, there's a lot to cover. But yeah, so first and foremost, he's a narcissist, as we already uncovered, so we don't have to go back into that. But he's also a misogynist.
Oh yeah,
and
huge one. Huge one.
Yes, he's a very big misogynist. And I started to kind of clock it a little bit more towards the end of our relationship because we would have conversations and he would just kind of say things about women that were like disparaging or just kind of like off the cuff comments. And I was like, well, that's not, you know, or having like, I think maybe especially when he wanted to debate about if men or women are the prize. And that was kind of the first debate. Yeah. And that was kind of the first thing that I was like, first of all, that's a weird question to ask because the answer is obvious. Women are the prize. And secondly, just in having the debate, I was like, that it was just weird because just his reasoning for why he believed men are the prize was giving very much like red pill ideology. Yeah. Which red pill is, which we can do a whole other episode on breaking that down. Yeah. But red pill is literally just a rebranded version of misogyny. So once I started kind of clocking that, I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious.
He had told me about him having that conversation with you because I was telling him, I was like, no, women are the prize.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I look at myself as the prize?
Yeah.
You should look at yourself as the prize too if you are of good character.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about like your gender, at least to me. But he had told me that. He was like, oh, well, I asked Jasmine and she feels she agrees with me, and you know.
It's a lie.
Yeah. I was like, really? Wow.
Yeah, no, that's a lie. It's a lie. I did not agree with him. But I also didn't want to like sit there and debate with him back and forth because I'm like, what's the point? Like,
yeah,
it's not going to change your mind, and I'm not getting anything out of this debate. You're not going to change my mind. I'm still going to walk away knowing that I'm the prize.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, and then he... But he made me realize that he also ripped on my ex. He was like, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so said that men and women are the prize. And I couldn't believe that he said that.
Your ex?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, we haven't had that conversation yet, so...
He just wanted his ego boosted. He wanted to feel good about himself.
He did. Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever, man. And so, but yeah, he ended up victim blaming me after I dumped my ex, his bestie boo. And that is bestie boo. It just came out. And yeah, he again just kind of flipped everything on its head to make it seem that I was the reason why our relationship ended. So he was saying things like, oh, well, if you hadn't been petty, then he wouldn't have had a reason to yell at you. That's literally victim blaming 101.
Like what?
Is you say that if you hadn't done X, Y, and Z, then that person wouldn't have abused you.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like the whole like, oh, well, you were asking for it, that a lot of men try to put on women when we find ourselves experiencing abuse.
Yeah. He would do the same thing to me.
Yeah. And I was just like, and the last time that we ever talked on the phone, we had like a 3-hour long conversation. It was the same conversation where he told me about what my ex's family was saying about me. And and I walked away from that conversation feeling like absolute shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what in the world? Like, I had never really felt like that after leaving a conversation with him. But it was kind of interesting because so the last time that me and him hung out, I went to go and support him at some showcase, and the girl that he was hooking up with,
the little sister,
yes, the little sister that he was hooking up with, and the other little sister were both there, and I was cool, cordial, I guess. Cool, cordial, whatever, with them at the time. So they were all trying to convince me to like hang out more afterwards and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I really want to go to sleep, but like, what do you guys have in mind? And so they told me what they wanted to do. And I was just like, I don't know. But in my head, I was like, okay, like, I don't really hang out with my friends often, so maybe this is a good chance for me to, like, socialize. Yeah. And I gave them, like, I was like, my one stipulation is that somebody just has to walk me back to my car. Because I never stay until, places close. Like, I just like to go home. So my cousin stepped right in and said, oh, of course, I'll walk you to your car. Dap me up. I was like, bet. Then I'll hang out with you guys. They were like, woo! So we hang out and, they're drinking or whatever. And that his little sister is grinding all up on him. And he's so standing gross. There. And at the time that I wanted to go home, and I guess some other people that they knew were there too. So I was ready to go home. I was like, it's boring. Like, I don't feel like being here. So I go up to him. I'm like, all right, twin, I'm ready to go. Can you walk back to my car? He was like, I can't, twin. And I was like, why not? And he was like, I gotta stay with, what's her face? And
his little sister.
And I was like, really? Are you kidding me? And then he tried to start giving me directions on how to get back to where we parked our cars. And I was like,
you're not going to see if I'm getting there safely?
Yeah, I was like, what? I can't even see out the window. Like, what? It's dark. It's like 12 at midnight. So I checked with him one more time because I was starting to get pissed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so you are actually not going to walk me back to my car. I was like, are you sure about this? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, bet. I didn't say goodbye to anybody. This guy that I, again, was like mutual friends with them. I went up to him because he seemed harmless. And I asked him, I was like, hey, my cousin said that he would walk me back to my car, but now he can't because he wants to stay with, his little sister. Mm-hmm. Do you mind walking me back to my car, please? I don't feel safe walking back there alone. And I don't know how to get back. Yeah. And he was so nice. Shout out to that man. And he was like, oh, yeah, of course. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. So we leave and he walks me back to my car, very kind. And I, was able to get home safe. I called my boyfriend on the way home, just venting as, anybody would in a relationship.
Yeah.
And so long story short, I was still very upset about that because I was like, you promised that you were going to walk me back to my car. That's the only reason why I hung out with you guys for longer in the night. Mm-hmm. And also, like, as my cousin, like, I'm so used to him, like, wanting to protect me, like, he has military training and all this stuff. Like, karate training or something. Like,
what was it? Like, yeah.
Taekwondo?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So I'm like, this man knows how to fight and he knows how to protect himself and the people that he loves. Yeah. So yeah. And then the next morning I woke up and I was still feeling everything. So I had texted him how I was feeling. And then I went back to sleep. He had tried to call me and we were just kind of playing phone tag or whatever. Finally got a hold of him and he was saying that he blacked out or something and he doesn't remember any of our interactions that night. And I was like, what?
He never blacks out.
Yeah. And I was like, well, first of all, thank God you made it home safe, twin.
Yeah.
And, my theory is that he just lied because
he didn't want accountability.
Yeah. Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
He didn't want to look bad. He wanted to literally just be like, oh, it's the alcohol's fault. Yeah. Not mine. But yeah, so just the fact that, he literally lied, and because once he found out that I had told the other little sister and that I had that other guy walk me to my car, and I guess that guy was saying stuff about how he couldn't get, how it kind of ruined the night for him or whatever. Mm-hmm. And or just people talking about, and even my ex just talking about how my cousin didn't, uphold his word that he gave to me. Yeah. And how people knew that I felt a type of way about it. Mm-hmm. So we got on the phone. He was just like, he said that he didn't remember anything, and then was trying to say that if we're having issues between us, I need to just keep them between us and not tell anybody because it's making things messy and just bringing too many people into the situation. And I was like, oh, so it sounds like you care about what other people think. Because other than that, it didn't make sense to me. Yeah. He was like, oh, no, I don't care about that at all. And I was like, okay, then what's the problem? I didn't say anything mean about you. I just said the truth. Yeah. Same thing like the situation with my ex. All I'm saying is the truth. Yeah. But you're just mad because you're a shitty person. So the truth just reveals that you're shitty, and you don't like having that reflected back to you or other people catching on to the fact that you're shitty.
Yep.
So, but that's not my fault, because
you shouldn't have done it.
You shouldn't have done it. So, yeah. So then, oh man. So we just kind of, one of the craziest things that he said to me, which again kind of led me on to like he's a misogynist, was he had told me that, again, trying to flip it on me and make it seem like it was my fault. He was like, you should have checked in with me because I'm the leader. And I was like, huh? What makes you the leader? And he was like, well, if all of you, which again is just girls, if all of you are there for me, then that then that makes me the leader of the group. And in my head,
that's not how it works.
Yeah, I was like, what are we, 12?
We are grown.
We need a group leader? And I'm like, I get it. You like to hang out with 21-year-olds, but sir, we are the same exact age. Same birthday, day, month, year, same hospital. And you think that you're the leader of me and that I need you to lead me? I make much more money than you. And you think that you should lead me. Does it look like I need to be led by you?
I make way much more money.
Yes, exponentially more. And you think I need you to be my leader. He said, you should have came up to me and asked what time we were all leaving, because I would have decided if we were going to leave then or what time we were going to leave. But if you were black out, then how would you even know?
If you're the leader, then you would stop yourself from getting that drunk because you know that you're looking over everybody. So that means that you are a piss poor leader.
Yes. There's no leadership.
No leadership.
No
leadership.
He just wanted to try and make me feel bad for something that he did.
Yeah.
And
that's all it was.
I walked away from that conversation and I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't even feel like addressing it with him because I was like, I knew that if there was a next time that I was going to hang out with them, that I still wasn't going. It's like, what? I need to ask your permission if I can leave? That's weird. Again, what are you on? And so I knew that if there was a next time that I'd be hanging out with them, that I was not going to adhere to his guidelines of being out and about or whatever. So, I obviously later found out that he lied about you guys' entire relationship. Yep. And I didn't actually know anything that was going on. And I also found out that he has said such horrible and disgusting things about me behind my back. And that he didn't actually view me as an equal. I think just based solely on the fact that I am a woman and he's not. And one of the things that is the most jarring for me is that he said that if he knew that my boyfriend at the time, his best friend, if he knew that my boyfriend was cheating on me, that he would not tell me. And that right there threw me for a loop because I was like, whoa, the person that is my literal family and we call each other twin. Like he had me under this illusion that we had this super close bond and we were going to be like cool and tight for life. Yeah. And you're saying that if I was getting betrayed on and that like my health and all the stuff was in jeopardy, that you wouldn't give me a heads up, you wouldn't say anything, you would just let me get cheated on. That's crazy.
But that just shows character though. That shows his character. There's no loyalty.
There's no loyalty. And if there's no loyalty with me, somebody that's his literal flesh and blood, there's no loyalty with anybody that's not his flesh and blood.
Well, I don't know.
What do you think?
His bestie.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think that's loyalty, though? Or
that's what I was about to say.
Because he's convenient?
Woo,
and he's doing... I think in my cousin's mind, his best friend is convenient because they've been best friends for like 10 years. Yeah. And I think he knows that my ex doesn't know how to set boundaries.
They don't hold each other accountable.
They don't hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
And also he knows that my ex, in his mind, the way a narcissist thinks, he thinks that my ex is doing worse in life than him. So it makes him feel better about himself, because if the person that he's communicating with on the most regular basis and he's doing worse than him in life, because if my ex is always calling him, telling him like, oh bro, because again, my cousin never told either me or my ex about any of the, the real stuff that was going on in his life or relationships.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that my ex is at least more transparent about all the bad stuff that's going on in his life, that my ex is able to see that and be like, oh, I'm doing so much better than him in life. And I think that's what made me appealing to my cousin whenever we reconnected in adulthood, was the fact that I was down horrible. I was in such a dark place.
He feeds off of that.
I was in such a bad place in life. And I think that's what, made having a relationship with me like alluring to him, because he was able to feel like he was doing better in life. And I think that throughout these last 2 years of us really having a relationship, we got to a point of equalizing, and then it got to a point of he was stagnant and I started just going like that and just growing and in his mind surpassing him. So thinking from his point of view, we equalized. Well, I was below him. We equalized, and then I surpassed him. So I think at the point of surpassing him, which is very recently, I guess, to him, is when he wanted to try and knock me down some pegs and make me feel bad about myself. And I think that's when I really start to see his mask fall off and slip completely, was because he couldn't stand to see me doing better than him in life.
Beware of a man that tries to humble women.
Yep.
That is his mission, to humble women.
Yes.
Please beware.
Yes, please be aware, because it's so dangerous.
Scary out in the streets, man.
Yes, it's so scary. So, but yeah, he just started to started to get very weird with just how he just wasn't really rooting for me anymore. And just kind of especially with the breakup, it was kind of he was more he didn't respect the fact that I was sad about it. I think he literally wanted me to be in shambles over it. And because I wasn't, I think it pissed him off. I don't think he wanted me to be okay.
Because that makes sense.
Because the last time I wasn't, my life tanked, and he was able to step in and
be Mr. Hero.
Yeah, be Mr. Hero, and the supportive cousin, and help me socialize again and all this stuff. And again, also seeing me as doing worse than him, so it made himself feel better. But seeing the fact that I was actually doing fine and better post breakup, I don't think he liked that at all. So yeah, he did not like that. And to wrap up that part, because I did cover a lot with you explaining your situation, but he was just so cold to me post breakup. And he catered way more to my ex's feelings than mine. We were on the phone the last time that I was on the phone with him. He was like, oh, your ex is calling and I'm his emotional support pet for the week, so I gotta go. And I literally had to say to him, I was like, I'm your cousin. I was like, what?
That's so weird.
I was like, I'm sad too. And
I'm upset too.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean?
I'm cracking up.
Yeah, so he also, I think he was happy to have my ex calling him more again, even if it was because of a breakup. So I think even though he hated me for breaking
doing that to his bestie.
Yeah, doing that to his bestie. I think he was also like, it was a twofold thing. Back. Yeah, he was like, oh, I'm my best friend back, and like now we're both single again, and we can take on the world.
No, we could be whores.
We could be together forever. But yeah, and one of the things that he said to me, one of the last things that he said, because I had blocked him, but then I unblocked him a couple of days later to just say my piece in a very calm and, you know, collected manner, but just very straight to the point.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I can very distinctly remember him saying is, because I told him that it felt like compounded grief because I had just lost my grandma and then I was losing my ex. And he had said to me, like, oh, well, just go ahead and grieve, Jasmine. Or go ahead and grieve, Jasmine. Hit me up when you're done. Or something like that. And I was like, horrible. Yeah. And I was like, that I already knew at that, like, I had already made that decision at that point because I had unblocked him.
Yeah.
But
that's like solidified
it. That solidified it.
That
and I was
did
like,
it for me too.
Yeah.
Where's your empathy?
Yes. And I was like, ooh, he's really, like, the mask is really off. He's not even trying to, like, hide anything anymore. Like, he wants me to feel so bad about myself.
He does. Yep.
So, yeah, I was like, but it also it really gave me the reassurance that I was making the right decision.
Yeah.
And that,
look at that.
Come
on.
Yep. And, you know, that it was good to just let that pair go off and, you know, do whatever they want to do together without me.
It was for the best.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
God, no.
It's so crazy because, like, after all of that, like, even though you were going through a breakup and, you know, taking yourself away from your cousin, but I was going through a breakup, and how both of our lives loves and together have transformed completely.
Yes.
And we are so much better off. That's how I know I ain't the damn problem.
Yep.
Like, that's how I know it wasn't me.
Yes.
My
that's
life
how
got
you know.
so much better.
That's how you know. Yeah. I'm so much happier. I've had so much more energy.
Yes.
I've been doing a lot of different creative projects. Like, I just feel so free and so happy. Like, I have so much time. I just, you know, I have a new love for life. Like, I don't think I've ever been able to really confidently say that I've loved life until recently.
Same here. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I feel so clear headed. Like, especially like being in, I feel like I was in such a fog, and now I can think, like, just think very clearly. I feel like the things that I am curating, I'm actually birthing them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in a stagnant place from whenever I was in that relationship where I just had creative ideas, but I would just stay stagnant in it. Yeah. But now it's like I'm just popping them out. Like, and then just coming out.
Yep. Pop them out. And I feel like my ex was just dead weight. Honestly, I think the fact that I was worrying about him so much because his life was such a mess, like, just distracted me from thinking about what I could do for myself in my life.
Yeah.
So just some dead weight, man. Just have to cut it loose.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, we'll take another quick break and then wrap this up. All
right.
Wow. Our first episode in the books.
So we're back.
Yes.
And we just hope that throughout our stories that we've shared through tonight is just, you know, this is just like the little slither of the pie of all the things that we have to share.
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, definitely. We want to be able to help people and spread awareness to these type of stories and these type of people that are out here. This is what this whole podcast is for and what it's about. And, you know, just to know, like, there's so many resources out here to help you get through these sort of relationships. And what else would you like to say about it?
Yeah, I think another part of our goal is just to empower people to really figure out what you want in life and that you are worthy of all the best things that life has to offer for you.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to believe that you're worthy of it, and know your worth, and add tax. And as Patience said, like, there are so many great resources out there to start to help you learn about these situations. And I think it would be great for us to include some of those in the link in the description box below this video, and in the description of our in our podcast notes. That's what it's called. If you're listening, if you're listening and not watching, it'll be in the podcast notes. But we definitely want to include a few resources to kind of help in those beginning stages of learning about these warning signs, what these relationships really look like on a broader, more general educational scale. As always, we hope that you guys took something away from us sharing this story,
because it was just a little bit of it,
literally just a little bit, literally just a little bit. And we hope that you guys tune in next time, where we will share much more just keep this going. We're so excited to build a community of like-minded individuals and people that just really want to learn and understand, and that can find value in the information that we're sharing
and heal.
And heal. For us, this talking about it is such a healing process, and not saying that you have to start your own podcast, but even if you just start
just journal,
journal,
get it out.
Even if you just start like one of those voice diaries where instead of writing it out, you just record voice notes and you can just talk it out. We do highly encourage therapy as well. We're not therapists. We're just sharing the knowledge that we've learned along the way in our lives. And we really hope that you guys, if you resonate with this, know that you're not alone. Know that there are other people out there that have been in these similar situations and have survived. Patience and I are living proof that you can find a way out, that you can escape these literal monsters and demon spawn that that you will unfortunately probably encounter in life. And know that there are so many good people out here. They may show up in your life in really unexpected ways, but when they do, trust it and know that you are deserving to have people like that in your life, not the people that suck the life out of you and that try and destroy you and talk down on you and make you feel like you're worth nothing. You're worth so much more than they could even fathom for themselves. And just because they hate themselves and they hate their lives and they think that they're a piece of shit doesn't mean that you are. Does not mean that you are. It's so true. Let them be a stinky turd and leave them alone.
Leave them alone and go boss up.
Yes, go boss up.
Go boss up. They said the best revenge is your paper.
Period.
Get that money, honey.
Yes.
And get your mind right.
Yep.
Heal that heart and go travel the world.
Yes, exactly. Life is too short to waste on people that don't give a flying rat's behind about you. It's too short. It's way too short.
Please go.
Yes. The fact that you and I released, 2 connections that we thought were going to last forever. And the fact that those connections were actually some of the most detrimental ones that we've ever experienced. You are really only a long-term victim if you let yourself be. Embrace the fact that you are a survivor. And you're a thriver. Because it really goes from being a victim to a survivor to a thriver. We're at the thriving stage in life.
And this is our baby, this podcast.
Our brainchild.
It is. This is where it starts, and this is what we're going to continue to pour into. So we just hope that you guys reap the benefits from it too.
Yes. We love bringing awareness to these things. It's just so important to talk about. And as always, if you have any thoughts or questions or comments, please leave them below.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you guys and know what takeaways you have. So we will also have our socials so that you can follow us along our journey and stay up to date with what we're up to with the pod.
Yes.
And be on the lookout for our next episode. So
I'm so excited.
Yes. We're so excited to share all this with you guys. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And
We'll
sending
see you
love and light
soon.
to everybody. Yes.
See ya.
Know your worth and then
Add tax. Period.
Period.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next week where we'll be talking about superficial friendships.